Ian Khama resigns from politics after correcting his mistake in Botswana politics. This really is very, very interesting. What we have seen happening in our neighboring country, where Ian Khama, having been president and having raised and made who Masisi was, and finally Masisi had to turn around and start coming after him. There was a serious fallout, which even caused General Khama to run away from his country and take refuge in South Africa for quite some time until he's coming back towards the elections that have resulted in the defeat of the BDP. And you still remember the video that I showed you of how Ian Khama celebrated the defeat of his father's party. Just imagine. It means the man really was pained by what happened, and he vowed that he wanted to make sure that he would pull down the BDP, and indeed he succeeded in pulling down the BDP. I saw quite a lot of other reports that were written by Varakashi and people like George Charampa complaining and saying that Ian Khama just used this party that he made, is it BFP, PPF or something like that, or BFP, just for as a dummy. His main intention was to propel Duma Boko to enter. He knew that his party was not that popular. It was not going to win, whatever it was or whatever it is. But the fact of the matter is that the BTP has gone down, and Ian Khama can now safely resign from politics and after correcting his mistake. And I'm only happy because the man's wishes. I think the man is going to die a happy man because he finally has achieved what he wanted to achieve. He promised Botswana that I'm going to solve the problem that I created, the mistake I did by appointing this guy as your leader. So I'm going to make sure that I remove him and solve the problem I made. And this is the letter that was written by Ian Khama, posted by Yaruna FM, explaining that he's now going to be concentrating on being Khosikolo. Khosikolo is a chief, by the way. He's a paramount chief, so he's going to be in his home area and continues to do his work as a chief. Chiefs in Botswana are still very powerful, even more than the president. That's the truth. If the president would come into the area, they will have to go and see the chief first, that I'm coming into your area and things like that. And they will be sitting next to each other when they enter into areas of the courses. So it's very, very interesting what we see happening in Botswana. Their traditional chiefs are really still very, the real de facto chiefs, not these ZANU-PF bastardized chiefs that we have in Zimbabwe, who are now just political commissars of ZANU-PF. Right. So correcting his mistake was really a good thing for Ian Khama to do. This is also the very same thing that we are talking about in our own context when we talk about, General Chiwenga. That General Chiwenga must not die before he fixes the problem that he created of bringing Emerson Mnangagwa back. Mnangagwa has been the mistake that General Chiwenga has made. Now he's looking at it, and I'm sure in his heart he regrets a million times. The guy who really brought Mnangagwa, who was a non-entity at one point, who had just been thrown into the dustbin of history and had to be brought back, dusted by General, and put back to that position, and then turns around again and starts to attack the very same man who lifted him up. And that's one thing that I'm sure the General regrets so much in his heart. But we've always been talking about this, that he needs really to fix up what he had done. And we are looking forward to see that the kind of clashes that we are seeing in ZANU-PF is actually this is a sign that really where we are going, we are definitely going to have a time that we will see the correction of this mistake that was done by General Chiwenga in the military. So I hope he is also going to retire from politics, or before he dies, he also has to see himself having achieved like what General Ian Khama has done. Because I saw Ian Khama dancing, the man danced like a small boy, he was overjoyed, having known that what I had done against my own people, I have managed to fix it. And I'm sure that brings joy to a man indeed, to achieve what you want before you die. Imagine if Masisi had won again. The General Ian Khama was really going to be a frustrated man. I don't know for how long, but he was going to be frustrated a big time. And that's the truth of the matter. So we are praying also what we have seen Jacob Zuma doing in in South Africa, same thing having happened also in Botswana. We are expecting that also happening in Zimbabwe, and with General Chiwenga being one who acted the pivotal role of bringing in this dictator who is now troubling the whole of the SADC region, Emmerson Mnangagwa, and he does have to correct the mistake that he did. And this is a mistake that has costed the lives of many people. I'm telling you, if somebody else had become president of Zimbabwe in 2017, we wouldn't have lost so many people in Zimbabwe, people that have died. I'm talking from civilians, ordinary citizens of Zimbabwe, as well as the generals of the military. We were not going to be having such numbers, but unfortunately, we put the devil in charge of our country, and people that do not discern, maybe like General Chiwenga, who don't discern things and would just do things, from the flesh. Had they known that Mnangagwa was going to be this, in fact, the idea of Mnangagwa turning against Robert Mugabe, being treacherous and beginning to plan against Mugabe from the early as the 80s, when he was just a minister, already setting up structures to take over government forcefully at one point in time, was just enough to show that the man is a treacherous man and never to be trusted. So for those that continue to naively trust him, I don't know how wise they are in terms of judging character, because they shouldn't have trusted Mnangagwa that much. And here we are today. We are at in a quagmire. We are in jeopardy because of what Mnangagwa is now trying to do, forcing himself to be there until 2030 while he's just destroying the country. There's nothing that Mnangagwa is doing for Zimbabwean people that he might want to continue to 2030, except to bring poverty, sickness, stagnation, failure, and suffering to the Zimbabwean people. That this is why Zimbabwean people, we are standing this time around in prayer, praying for the nation, for God's intervention, and God to strengthen those that he has to strengthen, who will help to bring Zimbabwe back to its feet. Because right now we are the laughing stock of the whole world. There is no one who doesn't talk about Zimbabwe anymore. But the good thing is now SADC has begun to realize that Zimbabwean people, their story is genuine. The man is a dangerous man, is a cancer, is an animal that must not be left alone surviving. It must be eliminated so that there can be peace in Zimbabwe as well as peace in the region. So this is what it is, family. Let us continue as intercessors to pray for the nation and believe in God, that God is in it and God is intervening in our situation. And indeed, we know that one of these fine days, Mnangagwa is going down, and we are getting closer and closer to the end. And we shall celebrate the freedom of the Zimbabwean people. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. We will be meeting in the upcoming shows. We are crossing over to the main channel. Thank you for those that are with us on this platform. Continue to subscribe, like, and share. We meet again. Shalom, and you are blessed.